You just failed a test, right? And understandably, you're pissed. So what do you do now? The first thing I want you to do is realize that it's nobody but your fault that you failed this test. I don't care if the teacher is horrible. I don't care if everyone else failed the test. If you failed this test, there's something about the way you studied or the way you prepared that made you fail. Once you can understand that, you're not only going to do better on the next test for this class, but all your tests in the future are going to be so much easier when you take complete self-accountability of how you do. A lot of people will complain that they weren't given enough time to study or the teacher didn't teach them the information that was on the test. But even if this information is true, if we believe these things, they're not going to get us any closer to getting an A on the next test. You have to understand that regardless of how badly the class is taught or how bad the teacher is, it's still your responsibility to rise to the occasion and do well on the test regardless. So if you can take complete accountability of how you do on these tests and realize every single bit of it is up to you and how you study and how you teach yourself the information, then you're going to do really well moving forwards. And now that you understand your grade is up to you and nobody else, there are really two ways you can respond to this. Either you can stop caring about your grade, as a lot of people do. They fail a test and they say, you know what, I didn't care about this class anyway. GPA is not that important. I'm in college. I'm just going to enjoy myself. And they might try even less hard on the next test because they just devalue the class and they think, you know what, if I'm going to get an F, I don't care. You know what, screw this class, forget about it. That's one option. The second option is to look at that failed exam and just sit with it for a while and think, you know what, I lost this time, but I don't care. I'm gonna win most improved player and I'm gonna get an A on every other exam. Even if the teacher thinks I can't do it, even if I think I can't do it right now, I'm gonna rise to the occasion and prove that I can absolutely crush this class. Everyone can try hard at something they're really good at, but it takes a certain subset of people to try really hard at something they're not yet good at. So if you're doing really badly in a class and you look at that and you decide that you're gonna improve because of it, I commend you because you're part of a very small subsection of people who's actually willing to grow and improve. Now that you've accepted that you're gonna improve and you're gonna try harder next time, there's a couple ways we can do this right. First of all, we need you studying well in advance. And this doesn't mean multiple weeks in advance. I don't need you studying, 20 days in advance. That's unnecessary. But we do want you studying at least 5 days in advance. If you're like a procrastinator like most college students might be, we want you studying at least a couple days before the actual test. We don't want you doing it all the night before. This just gives you more time to consolidate the information in your brain and also space out your learning so you can figure out what your weak points are and what you actually need to work on. If you do it all in one night, you can't really focus on anything. You're just rapidly hopping around from topic to topic, hoping something sticks. So that's the wrong way to do it. Second, you can study with friends, but on the nights that you really have to lock in, maybe a night or two before the test, for the most part, if it's difficult for you, you should be studying alone so you can completely focus. If you're getting distracted by your friends talking every couple seconds and you're getting pulled into conversations while you're trying to study for this test that's very difficult for you, then it's just going to make the whole study process way more difficult. So at least for the night before, make sure you're studying alone. I also need you to zero in on the main topics. So when you're looking at the notes that your teacher gives you for class, I want you to basically look at those and think, what are the main points? What's most important for me to know? Because we don't want you memorizing every single little bit of information because that's just a waste of your time. You could waste 8 hours just going over irrelevant details. But at the same time, you do have to understand what's actually going to be on the test because we don't want you just overlooking important information. And a lot of the time, this is actually gathered by listening to what the teacher is emphasizing in class. So I would suggest that when you're actually in class, you actively listen to whatever the teacher's saying. You're not off to the side playing video games or scrolling on your computer. You want to actually be listening to what the teacher's saying because they're going to emphasize certain points in the slides, and that's what you really need to focus on for the most part. Be present while the teacher's teaching and focus on what they're emphasizing so you can go back and really study those points particularly. And finally, don't give in to others' negative self-talk. So if you're studying with other people in this class and you keep hearing things from them about how they're not going to do well on the test and how they think the class is stupid and it's not even worth it, then you might subtly start to think those ideas yourself because you're just picking up on what they're saying. Make sure that if people are feeling negatively about the exam, that you're not really internalizing their thoughts and that you can stay focused and motivated knowing that you're going to crush this exam if you study well enough and you study for long enough. Now you might be wondering, what if I study all this time, I use all these techniques, and I fail my second test too? What do I do at that point? And my response to that is just to keep on going and keep on trying. I don't care how many times you fail. As someone somewhere once said, all defeat until death is just psychological. So even if you fail a couple times, there's no reason to give up. There's no virtue in not trying because something is hard. The fact that something is hard is what makes it worth doing. So even if you do bad a couple times, pick yourself up, keep studying hard, and keep working at it. I know you guys can do it. Now, if you're still here, I really appreciate you watching until the end. If you're not subscribed, then this is probably my last time seeing you, so thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you are subscribed, again, thank you so much for sticking along. If you like videos like this, stay tuned. There's going to be a whole lot more soon. But until then, I'll see you guys.